Jessica Williams lived in Chicago, a city filled with bright lights, busy streets, and endless stories. She was a relationship coach who often spoke at community centers and created videos to help men and women understand love, trust, and respect in relationships. Her goal was never to bring negativity but to highlight behaviors people sometimes overlooked when it came to trust. One summer evening, Jessica received a call from her old friend, Michael Turner. He was a hard-working financial analyst living in New York City. Michael sounded troubled, and Jessica immediately knew something was wrong. He told her that lately, his girlfriend Emily Parker had been acting differently. He didn't want to jump to conclusions, but he wanted Jessica's advice. Michael flew to Chicago for the weekend, and the two friends met at a quiet coffee shop in Lincoln Park. Jessica listened carefully as Michael described Emily's unusual behavior. He explained that Emily had always been consistent, warm, caring, and open. But recently, there were small changes that made him uneasy. Jessica leaned in and reassured him that sometimes changes in behavior don't always mean betrayal, but it's important to look for patterns rather than single actions. Michael admitted that he was scared. "Jessica, I don't want to be the kind of man who assumes the worst," he said, "but I can't ignore what I'm feeling." Jessica placed her notebook on the table and said, "All right, Michael. Let's go through this step by step. I'll share with you some hidden signs, subtle shifts in behavior, that may suggest when someone isn't being faithful. But remember, these signs are only red flags. They don't confirm anything unless paired with consistent patterns. Let's break it down." She began explaining the 8 hidden signs she had observed in her years of coaching. The first sign Jessica explained was sudden emotional distance. If a partner who was once warm and connected suddenly becomes cold or dismissive without any clear reason, it could mean something deeper. Michael admitted that Emily had recently started avoiding long conversations. The second sign was an unusual change in routine. Jessica said, if someone's schedule changes drastically without a solid explanation, like staying late at work every other night, it's worth noticing. Michael nodded slowly. Emily had started taking extra shifts at her job, though she never used to before. The third sign was secrecy with technology. Jessica explained, when someone guards their phone like it's a state secret, never leaving it unattended, that's not a good sign. Michael sighed. He had noticed Emily rushing to hide her phone whenever he walked into the room. The fourth sign was sudden defensiveness. Jessica said, when innocent questions are met with angry responses, it's often because the person feels guilty. Michael remembered how Emily snapped at him just for asking how her day was. The fifth sign was physical disconnection. Jessica reminded him, healthy relationships thrive on affection. If she avoids hugs, holding hands, or sitting close without reason, it may mean her emotions are elsewhere. Michael admitted that Emily seemed distant even during simple moments like watching TV together. The sixth sign was overcompensation. Jessica explained, sometimes guilt makes people go overboard, buying gifts, being overly sweet for no reason. Michael hesitated before confessing that Emily had recently surprised him with expensive shoes, which was very unlike her. The seventh sign was a change in personal habits. Jessica said, if she suddenly takes extra care of her appearance, spending hours getting ready for places she never used to, it's something to pay attention to. Michael quietly admitted that Emily had recently started wearing more makeup and stylish clothes even when she was just going out with friends. The eighth sign was intuition. Jessica leaned forward and said, Michael, your gut often picks up on what your eyes can't see. If you feel that something is wrong, don't dismiss that inner voice. Michael sat back, reflecting on all 8 signs. He realized that many of them matched what he had been experiencing. His hands trembled slightly as he held his coffee cup. Jessica placed her hand on his arm and said, Michael, don't rush into conclusions. Talk to Emily. Relationships are built on communication. These signs don't guarantee betrayal, they only mean you need clarity. The next day, Michael flew back to New York. On his way, he thought deeply about what Jessica had shared. Instead of accusing Emily, he decided to approach the situation with calm honesty. That evening, when Emily came home, he invited her to sit down with him in their apartment in Brooklyn. Michael gently told her how he had been feeling, and how her recent changes had made him anxious. Emily stayed quiet for a long time before finally admitting that she was struggling with personal stress at work, not another relationship. She explained that she had been hiding her phone because she didn't want him to see the negative messages from her boss, fearing it would worry him. Michael felt a wave of relief. While not everything was instantly resolved, that conversation brought them closer. Emily promised to open up more, and Michael promised to listen without judgment. Back in Chicago, Jessica received a message from Michael. "Thank you. You helped me see that communication matters more than suspicion." Jessica smiled as she looked out her apartment window at the city lights. She knew that sometimes, signs of betrayal were actually cries for help. What mattered most was facing them with honesty, trust, and courage. This experience became one of Jessica's most watched stories on her YouTube channel. Her viewers appreciated how she explained that signs should never be used to accuse but to guide meaningful conversations. And for Michael and Emily, it was the start of a stronger, more open relationship.